Hi, Alan. Thanks for taking the time. We are at the peak of the Fortune Global Forum here in Abu Dhabi, and we are discussing about generative AI, about the future of resources, energy transformation, the future of work. What captured your interest?
You know, I think what this event really highlights is that those issues you're talking about, any one of them is potentially revolutionary, but to have them all happening at the same time is kind of mind-blowing. I mean, you do have this technology revolution that's accelerating. The introduction of generative AI over the last year has really opened up huge new possibilities for business. The energy transformation, again, it may not be going as fast as the UN experts would like it to go, but when you talk to business people, it's a huge transformation that's well underway. And then, of course, the pandemic, but also the geopolitical forces that is forcing companies to rethink their supply chains and their global footprints. And all of those things happening at once create a kind of waterfall of change that I think everyone is sort of trying to get their arms around.
Yes, but how easy is for the companies and for the business leaders to navigate through all these changes?
Yeah, it's not easy. I think there are huge challenges, but what I like about the conversations here is I always leave them hopeful, because these are smart, creative business people who take challenges and turn them into opportunities, and they see big opportunities in front of them.
Yes, not only threats, but opportunities.
Every threat is an opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Alan, the world is changing, as you already mentioned, and the world is changing very fast. India, Saudi Arabia, China also, a different USA. Is the whole world in a difficulty to find leadership, the right leadership for these unprecedented days?
It's a really good question. These are unprecedented times. I mean, I've been covering business and the relationship between business and society for 4 decades, and I don't think there's ever been a time where things are moving as rapidly and changing as quickly as they are now. That does require leadership. I think particularly in the political world, leadership seems to be in short supply, and in a sense, that puts a greater burden on business leaders. They are, by definition, practical problem solvers. They wouldn't have gotten to be where they are if they didn't have the ability to address practical problems. And so in a world where you have, in many countries, vacuums of political leadership, business leaders are feeling compelled to step up. That's why, you know, I'm going to spend some time at the COP conversations in Dubai later this week. But really, you see the most interesting actions that are happening on climate happening at the business level, not at the government level. I did a panel earlier today with a representative from Siemens, a representative from Schneider Electric, and a representative from Dow Chemical. And the amount of creative thinking that's going on at all 3 companies on how to use the technology transformation to create sustainable businesses for the future is both mind-blowing, but also very encouraging. It makes you hopeful about the direction that business leadership can take us.
Yes, and what do you think is on top of the minds of the CEOs today?
Yeah.
The number one, I mean,
well, we do
challenge.
We do polling on this with the Fortune 500 CEOs, so we have a pretty good idea. I wouldn't say it's one issue, but I think you've already touched on the 3 big ones. First of all, the pace of change, particularly AI. You know, generative AI, ChatGPT, it's only a year old. There's never been a technology that invaded the business world as rapidly as generative AI did. So that's one, just the extraordinary new technologies, and how do you make sure that you are on the winning side of that transformation. 2 is geopolitical. We see in the polling we do of CEOs that geopolitics is on their mind in a way that it hasn't been Probably,
last,
probably since
many years.
the Cold War. A lot of thinking about changing supply chains, readjusting supply chains, changing geographical footprints. It's one of the things that makes being here in the Middle East so interesting. You hear lots of stories of companies that have picked up from Hong Kong or from Singapore or from or even from Russia and the Ukraine and landed here instead. They're working very hard to create a favorable environment for foreign direct investment. And then the third piece is just the huge challenge of the energy transformation and addressing global warming. And I think companies are thinking about that not just because they want to save the world, although who doesn't want to save the world, but they're thinking about it because they think that a lot of companies are going to make a lot of money in the process, that this is a business opportunity to be on the leading edge of the energy transformation. And so companies like the ones I just mentioned are trying to think, how do we get ahead of this so that we end up profiting from the change?
Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you, Anastasia. It's always great to be with you.